Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to be dealing with the concept of separate legal entity and its after effects, which is lifting of piercing of corporate veil. Before we know about the second concept, let us know about the first concept, which is separate legal entity. What do you understand by separate legal entity is? The company is different from the members who are going to be forming it. Now, the most important leading case law which shows what a separate legal entity is, it is Salmon versus Salmon and Company Limited, wherein which Salmon will form a company with himself along with his wife and 4 sons and a daughter, which is a public limited company because it amounts to 7 members. Now, Salmon will be forming a company as having a status of secured creditor, where others are considered as unsecured ones. Now, there was a question when the company goes into liquidation. The claim was, how can one person be considered as a founder, a majority shareholder, and a secured creditor, where others are given the unsecured creditor status? The court held that the company went into liquidation because of general trade depression, and the company was not formed to defraud any other members associated with the company, and therefore the separate legal entity of the company remains intact. Now, when it comes to lifting or piercing of corporate veil, it was stated that when the separate legal entity status of the company will be questioned, that is basically ignoring the separate legal entity status of the company, that is your lifting or piercing of corporate veil. Now, the situations wherein which lifting or piercing of corporate veil will be considered as, the first is enemy character, the second is evasion of taxes, the third is avoiding payment of labor welfare legislations, the fourth is fraud or improper conduct, the fifth is company acting as a mere agent on behalf of its shareholders, and the sixth is when the company's members are reduced to below statutory minimum. Now, when it comes to enemy character, there is important cases Dalmia versus Continental Tire and Rubber Company Limited, where both the companies are English companies, and this Continental Tire and Rubber Company purchases tires from Dalmia Company, but the only difference is Dalmia Company is handled by German nationals, that is, its directors, its other important members are German nationals. Now, the crux is Germany enters into a war with England, disturbing the business of the companies. And with regarding to this, the court held that the company which was formed by its members, just because they are foreign nationals and basically German nationals, will be considered as same to those of who are forming that company. So this is your enemy character. The second is evasion of taxes. The most important case is Dinshaw Manager Petit, where this particular individual who is a billionaire will be separating his income in the form of interest and income, the two categories. And basically this income will be shifted to his 4 companies, which he forms only to evade tax payment to the government. Now, the court basically held that the particular 4 companies which were formed by this particular Dinshaw Manajit Patel and he himself are considered as one and the same, and the companies were formed only to evade tax payment. So this is your second one. The third one is avoiding payment of labor welfare legislations. The most important case is Workmen versus Associated Rubber Company Limited, where the company will be promising the workmen to basically provide bonus when it earns profit. But it basically forms a subsidiary company and diverts whatever profit it has earned. Now, later on, we come to know that the company which was formed, the subsidiary company which was formed, was only formed only to avoid paying bonus to the workmen. So this is your third perspective. Now, when it comes to fraudulent conduct or improper conduct, the most important case is Guilford Motor Company versus Horn, where Horn, who was previously working in Guilford Motor Company, promised when he would, at the time of his retirement, that he would no longer solicit the customers of Guilford Motor Company. And thereafter, he forms a separate company along with his wife and his friend. And he would basically, his main goal was to solicit the members or the customers of Guilford Motor Company. Later on, the court held that the company which was formed by Mr. Horne and Mr. Horne himself are one and the same. And the main aim was to solicit the customers of Guilford Motor Company. And the fifth concept is the company acting only as a mere shareholder to its customers, that is to its shareholders. And the sixth one is below statutory minimum. Now, what do you understand by below statutory minimum is when the company, that is in the case of your public limited company, the minimum number of members should be 7, and in the case of a private limited company, the minimum number of members should be 2. And if the company's limit falls below 7 and 2, the members, the remaining members of the company can still continue to function, but provided they can uphold unlimited personal liability. So today we have learned the concept of separate legal entity and its after effects, that is lifting or piercing of corporate veil.